I am so excited to tell you about my very first Jots book, Forgiveness and Healing: How to Seek, Offer, and Understand the Power of Forgiveness. What is forgiveness? What is the power of forgiveness? And how can you use it to set yourself free from the chains of that bondage? Learn how to forgive, learn how to apologize, and read real stories from real people that'll help you get through it. Plus, hey, on top of that, a whole lot of my weirdness, I suppose. So if you're willing to take a chance on that, check it out. You can get it July 15th. Pre-order now at forgivenessbook.godjots.com. The kingdom of God is riding down the road, and we have the chance to participate in it. The question is, will we? If given the opportunity, what would you surrender? What's up, my EFF? Let me tell you how it is. You've just stumbled upon God Jots, a series about the nature of love, compassion, joy, and the real-life connection between human beings. I'm Ender Bowen, Nashville, Tennessee rock pop artist, author, husband, father, complete dork, and aspiring compassionist. Sit back, relax, and be prepared to laugh, cry, maybe even learn to ride a donkey. Trust me, you're really going to love it. The Lord has need of it. Simple words. Yet they carry the weight of both a moment and an eternity. If you're anything like me, you've probably heard the story of Jesus riding into Jerusalem. If you're anything like me, you've probably heard the story of Jesus riding into Jerusalem on a donkey countless times. Not that he did it countless times, but that you heard it countless times. You got that, right? Anyway, it's a well-worn part of Christian memory, a piece of theology cemented in our understanding of who Christ is and how he moves through the world. But if we stop and sit with it for a moment, we see something far deeper, a story of participation, invitation, and surrender. It's about ordinary people like you and me being asked to give something up, something that holds value for the sake of something much, much bigger. But before we dive into the heart of it, let's ask ourselves, if that were us, if the Lord asked us for our donkey, would we give it? Let's start by imagining a scene. You're sitting in your home, maybe sipping coffee, binging Agatha all along, or just going about the ordinary routine of your day. Suddenly, someone knocks on your door. It's a stranger, looking a bit rushed, and they tell you that the Lord needs something from you. Maybe they're asking for your car or that rowing machine you rarely use. Or maybe what they request is something more personal, like your time, your energy, your signed Joe Namath football, a project you're very passionate about, or even a relationship. It's something that matters to you, not a trinket or a spare thing lying around, but something that actually holds weight in your life. And now, you're being asked to surrender it. That's essentially what happened when Jesus sent his disciples to get a donkey. The owner, without much fanfare, gave it up because the Lord had need of it. We don't know much about this person. Was he wealthy and had many donkeys? Did they have names? Were a couple of them twins? Or was this the only one, used for daily work and a vital part of his livelihood? Regardless, the donkey was of value. In first century Palestine, a donkey wasn't a luxury. It was a practical, essential animal used for carrying burdens, plowing fields, and transportation. The fact that Jesus needed it in that moment, it wasn't coincidental, though I would argue it might have been a bit comical. When God asks us for something, it's not often something insignificant. The very fact that it might be hard to give it up is part of the reason he asks for it. There's value in the surrender, because there's value in the thing we're holding on to. But what does this mean for us in our modern lives? And how often are we missing invitations to be part of something greater because we're clinging on to what feels vital for our survival? There's a part of us, if we're being honest, that doesn't want to let go. We're wired for control, for security, for keeping what feels safe close to us. When something is asked of us, especially when it's something valuable, our first instinct is often to evaluate the cost. Can I afford to give this up? What happens if I do? I readily admit to doing this all the time. In the case of the donkey's owner, the Lord's need was clear. He knew who it was for and why it was necessary. But what about in our own lives, when the call isn't so explicit? What if the Lord's voice comes through the whispers of our conscience, nudging us to give something up, but we can't see the direct impact? And the truth is, we're often reluctant to let go of what matters most because we don't always see the bigger picture. We don't always trust that the Lord's need is greater than our own. And so we hold back. We clutch to our modern day donkeys, whether that's our careers, relationships, ambitions, or material possessions, because we're afraid of what happens when we let go. But here's the reality. When the Lord asks us for something, He's inviting us into a story much, much larger than our own. The kingdom of God is riding down the road, and we have the chance to participate in it. The question is, will we? Now, what if, instead of seeing it as a loss, we reframe this as an opportunity? What if every time God asks us for something, it's not about losing, but about joining something much more extraordinary than we can imagine? Take the donkey, for example. The value of a donkey in that time was not just economic, it was cultural. It represented a form of peace, of humility, of something that carried burdens yet walked with dignity. For the owner, the donkey might have been essential to his work, his family, and his community. But when the Lord asked for it, the donkey was no longer just a piece of property. It became a vehicle for the Messiah to fulfill prophecy and usher in the kingdom. Now, that's the possibility we often miss, isn't it? When God asks for something of value in our lives, He's not stripping us of it for no reason. He's repurposing it for His kingdom. That car, that time, that relationship you're called to surrender, it becomes a part of something greater, part of God's unfolding plan. And in that surrender, we get a front row seat to witness the kingdom coming to life before our very eyes. When we release our grip on what we think we need the most, we open ourselves to something far more profound. We glimpse the kingdom, not just in the distant future, but in the here and now. We see the Lord riding down the road, not on someone else's donkey, but on the very thing that we surrendered. All right, so how do we change our mindset? How do we move from reluctance to surrender, from fear to participation? Well, it starts with recognizing that God's requests aren't arbitrary. When He asks for something, it's because it has significance, not just to you, but to His kingdom. And often, the very thing He asked for is the thing that's hardest to give, because that's where transformation happens. If we only give what's easy, what we don't care about, well, what's the value in that? What's the point? There's something sacred about giving up what matters most. It's a demonstration of trust, of faith that God will use it for something far beyond our own understanding. It's stepping into a story where we're not the main characters, but crucial participants. Here's the invitation for you today. What's your donkey? What's the thing that you hold tightly to, the thing that you rely on for security, identity, or value? Is it your career, your family, your comfort? And what would it look like if today the Lord knocked on your door and said, I have need of it? The kingdom of God is always riding down the road. The question is, will you participate? Will you give up your donkey, knowing that what you surrender will carry the king into the world? Or will you hold to it tight, missing the chance to glimpse the kingdom breaking in? It's not easy. It never is. But the invitation remains to trust, to give, to see the kingdom come. And when we do, we find that what was ours alone was always meant to be shared, always meant to be a part of something much bigger, something eternal. So the next time you feel that nudge, that whisper asking you to surrender something of value, don't hold back. The Lord has need of it, and through it, He will bring His kingdom into the world in ways you can't yet imagine. That's the beauty of the unexpected invitation. We're all part of the story if we're just willing to say yes. All right, now it's your turn. What is your donkey? If given the opportunity to surrender it to the Lord, would you? Why or why not? Would it be easy or would it be hard? If it would be hard, why do you think that is? Have you ever had this experience? And if so, did you surrender to the invitation or did you hold on tightly to what you held dear? I would love for you to share your thoughts about this episode with my growing community of aspiring compassionates. Find out how to join us on Discord by going to enderbowen.com/Discord. If you like this episode and want to be notified when new ones are uploaded, make sure you don't leave without hitting that subscribe button. Or subscribe to God Jots on your favorite podcast streaming service. You can also check out more God Jots, as well as subscribe to the mail list for ebooks, updates, and exclusive content at godjots.com. Until next time, Be honest with yourself. Be truthful with others. Give people the opportunity to surprise you. And remember that it's impossible to have absolutely nothing in common with another human being. Be a little light in the world. I'm sure I'll see you soon.